Did you listen or you have to?
I have to listen still.
Okay. No worries. Yeah. Um, so far we have covered 5 topics. The first topic, harmonizing body, mind, and spirit, right? That there we talked about how the mantra meditation allows us to harmonize our body, mind, and soul, spirit, right? The second topic, we question that as a human, do we have any purpose in life? Or is it the same thing just like animals, sleeping, eating, mating, defending? Then we learn that no, actually, we humans have a lot more discrimination and all. Like these are the common sense, right? But it was just making us think that we we humans have a lot bigger purpose in life. What is that purpose? To understand that, we started going into the topic 3, consciousness, that we are not the body, we are more than the body. What is that? We learn that it is soul. We all talk about the soul, but then scientifically we try to understand if the soul exists. We looked into the near death experience, the past life memory, we looked into the logical interpretation, and through that we say that, okay, yes, there is something called soul. And the symptom of the soul is what we call as consciousness. Then the fourth topic, we looked into the mind. The mind, whether it's a friend or a foe. And we talked about how yoga system, mind plays such an important role, where we talked about yoga is a process which aligns the mind to understand ourselves, right? So what we see that mind is a glue for any self-discovery, right? So we need to make sure that we understand the mind, what is the function of the mind, and how to align the mind so that we can keep making progress. The last week, we talked about the moods and modes. We talked that how each of us have different nature. Some are very malleable thinkers. Some are very aggressive. Always do. The other kind will be okay, man. Everything is fine. Let's drink and be merry, right? So we have different variety of humans, and we are the most cases we are the mixed bag, right? We have all of these qualities. Then we talked about where these qualities are coming from. We looked at what the philosophy says, and we look, there are 3 kind of modes, right? One is the modes of goodness, mode of passion, and mode of ignorance. Mode of goodness, which bring us allow us to live very a life full of compassion, giving,
Giving,
right?
right?
So the mode of passion, where there is a lot more competition, less get it done, not too much focus on the personal growth as far as the spirituality is concerned. And the mode of ignorance is that we are living whatever the life is and not thinking that what is the purpose, what is the bigger purpose of life. So we looked into all those modes, and today, the law of karma. And if you have missed any of those, please go and watch the video. Everything is uploaded, and there is a YouTube playlist where you can find everything. So today, the law of karma. This will answer a lot of questions in terms of the things which is happening all around us, the kind of birth one get, right? So we will, and we do talk now. The karma has become a word in the English dictionary, right? We say that, okay, karma, but do we really understand what this karma is, right? So it plays a very big role in the whole manifestation. So with that, let's watch the video.
The law of karma, an infallible justice. 2 children are born at the same time on the same day. The parent of the first is wealthy and has anxiously awaited the arrival of their firstborn for years. Their child, a boy, is bright, healthy, and attractive, with a future full of promise. Surely destiny has smiled upon him. The second child enters into an entirely different world. He is born to a mother who was abandoned while pregnant. In her poverty, she feels little enthusiasm to rear her sickly new offspring. The road ahead is fraught with difficulties and hardships, and to rise above them will not be easy. The world is full of disparities like these, blatant inequities that often provoke questions. How could Providence be so unfair? What did the parents do to have their son born blind? They're good people. Is Supreme unkind? Why does one person enjoy while another suffers? The answers to such questions are crucial to all of us because they give us a direct clue on how we can become free from all future suffering. Krishna explains in the Bhagavad Gita, the intricacies of action are very hard to understand. Therefore, one should know properly what action is, what forbidden action is, and what inaction is. Karma means activities performed by the living entities conditioned by the three modes of material nature. Karma is a subtle force generated by the interactions amongst conscious living beings. The law of karma is similar to the scientific law of action and reaction observed in the physical system. By this suitable law, good or supportive actions lead to correspondingly positive reactions. Exploitative or violent acts force the actor to undergo equivalent troubles. Spiritual scriptures generally promote compassion and sensitivity to our neighbor, both human and non-human. When a person ignores the concept of non-injury to others, called ahimsa, or the biblical command, "Thou shalt not kill," by unnecessarily killing innocent living beings, he must suffer the result at some point in the future. And when millions do so, collective karma inevitably leads to macroscopic catastrophes such as wars, urban violence, and new diseases. Karma is the law of cause and effect. There is a reaction for everything we do. If we throw a coin up, it will come down. If we regularly put money in the bank, our wealth will accumulate. If we drink alcohol, we'll suffer a hangover later. These are natural laws of cause and effect. There are some facilities given to the human beings, but does that mean that we have a free license to engage in whimsical activities? We human beings are accountable for everything we think, speak, and do. Therefore, we must be aware of the consequences of the activities we perform. The law of karma is not applicable to the animals because they do not possess a higher sense of discrimination between right and wrong. Their intelligence is limited to the activities of eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. However, human beings are gifted with a sense of discrimination and a higher intelligence to inquire into the purpose of life and the root cause of suffering. Thus, the law of karma is completely binding upon the human beings. Karma. There are three kinds of karma. Punya Karma, activities done according to the laws of nature and as per scriptural injunctions. Performance of Punya Karma gives pious and good reactions. Vikarma, whimsical activities done without any regard to the laws of nature and against scriptural directions. Performance of Vikarma gives sinful reactions. Akarma, activities for which one doesn't suffer any reactions. These are activities without bondage. Good and bad karma, Punya Karma and Vikarma. If my body is nicely formed, intelligent, healthy, and born in aristocratic or rich circumstances with good opportunities for education, it is understood that I have acted piously in my previous life. If I have a body that is ugly, deformed, diseased, unintelligent, or born in poverty and ignorance, without faculty for improvement, I must have acted sinfully in the past life. I may want to live in a big house, but I may not deserve a human body. In the appropriate body of a rat, however, I will be allowed to live in the big house and consider it my own. Karma is like a bank account of credits and debts. Just as one's bank account determines whether one will get what one wants, the spirit's karmic account determines whether he will get what he wants in life. Good karma is like a credit in the account and bad karma is like a debt. For example, if someone is very charitable towards educational institutions, in his next life, he may be very wealthy and receive an excellent education. On the other hand, if one kills a living being, he or she will suffer the same fate in the next life. As long as the spirit is involved in good or bad activities, he will continually reincarnate in various species of life according to the laws of karma. At the time of death, the plans of the spiritual consciousness are stored within the mind, subtle matter, and by the help of higher orders natural laws involving karma, the consciousness gets the facility to give these plans shape in his next life, in a suitable bodily form. The numerous biological forms at various levels of consciousness are therefore present in nature only to accommodate the different desires of the spirit. Good karma and bad karma do not cancel each other. One must suffer all the bad karma and enjoy all one's good karma. Akarma refers to spiritual activity performed on behalf of or for pleasing the Supreme Consciousness that does not have any material reaction. Punya, good karma, and spiritual activity, Akarma, are not the same. Punya, good karma, is material activity pertaining to the material body. By performing this, one can get promoted to a better material situation within the material world, but one cannot go beyond it. Just like in the case of a prisoner who may be transferred from a C-class prison cell to an A-class prison cell with more facilities, but who is not allowed to leave the prison. Akarma, or devotional service to the Supreme Consciousness, however, being fully spiritual, has nothing to do with this material world. It is meant for material promotion, but it is meant to transfer us to the spiritual world, beyond the cycle of birth and death. Akarma is thus beyond both karma and vikarma. To free oneself from the bondage of this material nature, one should perform akarma, i.e., work without reactions. Krishna explains this very vividly in the Bhagavad Gita. Work done as a sacrifice for Vishnu has to be performed. Otherwise, work causes bondage in this material world. Therefore, O son of Kunti, perform your prescribed duties for his satisfaction, and in that way you will always remain freed from bondage. When a country goes to war, if a soldier kills many enemy soldiers, the government awards the soldier with prestigious awards. However, if the same soldier comes back, picks up a fight with someone and kills him, the same government punishes the soldier for killing one person who was earlier awarded for killing many. This is because in the battlefield, the soldier was acting on behalf of the government, and so the soldier was not liable. But when he killed a person for his personal reasons, the soldier was held accountable. Similarly, when we perform akarma by acting on behalf of the Supreme Consciousness under his direction or the direction of a bona fide representative of Krishna, then there are no reactions to such actions. Some examples of akarmic activities are chanting the holy names of Hare Krishna, performing bhakti or acts of loving devotional service in the association of others following the path of bhakti yoga. By performing akarma, one develops devotion for the Supreme Consciousness, detachment from bad association, purity, and spiritual happiness. Akarma liberates one from the cycle of birth and death and takes one back to the spiritual world.
All right. So let's get started with our icebreaker question for today. So what is your feeling about exercising regularly? Do you do it? Why or why not? That's Priya's favorite question, right? Priya?
It is my favorite question. And I have to say, I have a personal, I think is my opinion, and I'm a little bit triggered right now seeing this person in a pose, because I do think in Western society, there's this cultural appropriation of extracting this physical thing from the whole study of yoga. So I'm going to say that, I'm going to release it to the world. But I do think there is the purpose. I mean, if you read the ancients say, the purpose of doing the asanas is to calm your body so that you can be present with yourself. And so, whether you're doing asana, we're doing poses, for me, it's running, right? So it's just the ability to close out the world to be just just be in your own presence, right? And I think we have a difficulty of doing that in this society, of just being quiet and thinking.
Okay, thank you. Yes, definitely what you mentioned about the that the purpose of what is the purpose of asana. So you're connecting to the purpose. That's very good, because we were talking in I think last episode or before that, that how these Ashtanga yoga, which are the eight steps yoga system, and asana is one of them. The purpose is ultimately to bring one to samadhi. Right. That is the purpose. It's not building the body, but how the society has taken this shape that we have this visual representation that my body should look like this, and that is the purpose, and then we are so fixated on that, and that takes away the real principle behind it. So thank you for bringing that. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Yes, anybody else would like to contribute?
I love to move. Might not look like it lately because I've been extremely exhausted. Post-COVID symptoms have been just hitting me really hard, but I do love it. I am constantly on the go and on the move. I love to just take a really long walk and sort of breathe in and take in my surroundings. I love to hike. I'm an avid hiker. This was supposed to be my hiking year, but I think it will be saved for later in the year. I dance all the time. I have a dancing addiction. We can talk about that. Um, and I love to swim and kayak, and there's just so many wonderful things to do with our bodies. I just really enjoy it. I struggle usually to sit still like this and to just be, and to like be at the computer as much as I need to or have to for work. So yeah, I love it. I love movement.
Thank you. And I'll add one special sentence. What the philosophy talks about, that body is an instrument, right, which has been given to us. And how do we properly utilize the instrument? That's on us. Of course, we need to keep the instrument healthy, but if the focus becomes the instrument, then we lose the purpose, right? So that's what the self-discovery is all about. Thank you, Angelina. Anyone else?
Yeah, I mean, I like to exercise. And that's mostly just because I know that that's just a way for me to maintain my body. So if I don't, then I start getting drowsy and kind of out of it and everything like that. And so I tend to do a little bit of exercise um, to maintain how my body's working, keep it as healthy as I can. That's it. I also like dancing. I'm not a
Ah.
professional dancer or anything though, so I just like it.
I haven't heard anybody who doesn't like dancing. Means some people are shy to dance in public, but most people like to dance twist, right? When they're happy, you want to shake. Most people means yes. All right. Apurv, Dhruv, would you like to say anything?
I'll say that I'm not always good about exercising, but whenever I do it afterwards, I always feel good. But sometimes it's that laziness that gets in the way. It's like, oh, do I really go for a hike? Probably not. I'll just sit and watch TV or something.
I'm in your category, Apurv. Yes. Yes, definitely. Means I can always say life is so busy, but yes, I also get lazy and sometimes I don't exercise, or I don't exercise at all sometimes. So yeah. And Dhruv is telling walking in yoga is his favorite. Thank you, Dhruv. Trail walks too. Yes, absolutely, absolutely. So, Bree, would you like to go through the questions, or would you like me to do it?
I can go through them.
Okay.
So we have 4 questions today for discussion relative to our video that we just watched. And so I will start by posting the first one. All right, so in the video, we listened about the law of karma. And so can anybody recall how the video described the law of karma?
I think one of the things that I remember is like if you do good actions, good responses will come back to you.
Yes, every action causes a reaction. Yes. Were there any other understandings of the laws of karma from the video? I remember a piece of it spoke about the 3 types of karma and how there are reactions for good, there are reactions for bad, and then there are no actions at all. How does that resonate with anybody? Have you ever heard of that concept before?
It's sort of counterintuitive, right? To say that for every action there is a reaction, and then to say that there are actions that cause no action reaction. So my brain is struggling with that.
Mm-hmm. I've never heard of it
Like,
before.
yeah, I intellectually I understand what it like the intent and what that would mean, but essentially, if you're doing this thing just so, nothing, right? It just is. Whereas if you're doing something with this intent, good or bad, then there is this reaction. So intellectually I get it, but I hadn't thought about that or heard of it. So it's interesting.
I agree. The explanation, so I'm ex-military, so when they brought up the military, it made so much sense to me because when they put me out there with everybody, that is extremely true. You're having to follow the command of your leaders in whatever action that is, whether it could be considered good or bad, right? And so by doing whatever you're being commanded to do, you end up receiving what like a reward, or you don't get in trouble for it because you are acting on the instruction of your command. But I also remember in the military that if you didn't do that, you would get in trouble. So if you didn't follow the command of your leaders, then you would get in trouble. So it's very interesting because they were really defining actions based off of your own intention versus actions based off of somebody else's intentions causing good or bad karma or no karma at all. Has anybody had an understanding of the law of karma prior to reading or listening to the video?
Yeah, I mean, to some extent, I in an understanding that whatever you do in this world comes back to you eventually in some time or space. That's sort of my basic understanding of it. Um, I had a thought and it has slipped away. Maybe I'll catch it. We'll see.
No worries. Yeah, I mean, it is interesting because just speaking and not really thinking about it, everybody talks about karma. But it's very interesting because I don't know if people understand the actual concept that there is a karma. Did you all have a concept that there is a karma, or was it just really a statement or a philosophical saying like, oh, I must have had bad karma in my life because this thing is happening? Or did you ever have um, any kind of concepts of karma?
I mean, I'm a Hindu, so yes, this is what I grew up with. And in my home, we talked about the interplay of dharma and karma. So yeah, I mean, to me, this is not a new concept. I do think the concept in popular culture takes it away from kind of the deeper understanding, and that it isn't some sort of instant replay, or some kind of um, uh, uh, what happens now will come to you tomorrow. Like it's not that thing. And I think that gets lost in the popular Western concept of it.
Like instant karma.
Right.
What was your understanding of karma prior to this, the video then? Your own conception, did you have your own conceptions, or did you just, did you agree with what you were taught with Dharma and karma growing up?
I feel like the video is a little simplistic. That was how I felt. I feel like karma is interesting, but it's really the interplay of the two that becomes more interesting. And I'm certainly not studied. That's why I'm here, is to study with you.
Yeah, of course. No, I mean, it's very interesting. Growing up, never really understood the law of karma. I've heard about karma, I spoke about karma, but to understand karma, especially in even a simplistic way as this video growing up, never had a conception of it at all. It's
Yeah,
very
so many
interesting.
of these ancient traditions, not just in Hindu, but in, other native ancient cultures, the true meanings get stripped away from it, I think, over time. That's for all of us to remember and pass on now.
Yeah, I think my main definition of karma prior to any practice in bhakti was that you reap what you sow. That's all that I understood about it, which made sense to me, being somebody who was born in a very unfavorable situation and understanding, or asking those questions as to why does this person get everything and then these people get nothing. And so, and then seeing kind of the examples of like what I was growing up with, and people weren't doing the best of things. And so I'm like, oh, that must be small conception of this, but growing up, it made sense for sure.
It's an interesting historical fact that there are Christian churches in India that predate colonialization, and there is some historic evidence that Christ, for the 7 years that he was gone, ended up in India and received some Hindu philosophy, and that brought that back. And if I love the study of religious philosophy. It's my hobby. So if you read, and I'm not talking about religious dogma, set that aside, but if you really read the philosophy, the Christian philosophy, the Jewish philosophy, the Islamic philosophy, we all converge on these points.
Absolutely. And the points being that our actions are what's causing our misery or enjoyment.
Well, many of these, right? So the idea of dharma, karma, you just said, I mean, I think that's seat what you row what you see. That's a very Christian saying, right? The other part, I really like this. I think it comes from Christianity. but but for God, there go I, or something like that. It's a Christian saying, which I really like. It's the idea that I am the same, right? That I could be yours or you can be mine. So if you start pulling those threads together, we all start converging on these lines. So many different lines.
I see. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I also enjoy reading many scriptures to see viewpoints around the world, especially I was born in the Christian faith, and so I get it. So for the laws of karma, it's similar to the scientific law of action and reaction that's observed in the physical form. So just like you kind of mentioned, Priya, a lot of people have an understanding of the law of action and reaction that's observed more in a physical form, a material realm. That's something that they can observe with their senses. There's good and bad karmas, which equal that you have done or are doing pious or sinful activities. And so a lot of times what people don't even understand is some of their actions that you're doing in your current life is a result of karma. You know, if you are treating somebody that is not so very well, bad, you would think that, you know, oh, the karma in which this person's going to have in this other life, you know, it's not going to be so good. But the act of doing that is also karma. The act of doing something good is also karma. And the act of doing something more on a dharmic consciousness is also karma. But all three of those karmas are different, right? And so the good karma and the bad karma are those karmas that are considered binding, which means that you're doing something either good or bad that's going to give you some type of distress or benefit as a reaction, but will keep you in the material world. Whereas if you're doing something that is a karma, then that is not something that you're doing for yourself at all and will disqualify you from being bound by the material world. Did anybody have any resignation, or not resignations, but any kind of thoughts about that? What does that mean? What I just said.
Apurv, you have made some comment like in the second session or third session. You wanted to ask some question regarding this, right?
Yeah, my main question was like, is from the consciousness lesson, but does our soul choose how we end up or this body? And I guess this sort of answers that aspect.
Answers? Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
That's
So
a good question.
maybe you can repeat the question for the folks if anybody like see how Apurv is connecting that.
Yeah, so the question that I asked in like the consciousness lesson was we're talking about soul and like how everyone has a soul. And my question was like, how does the soul choose? Where does the soul choose what body to end up in, like what life it's gonna lead? And I guess based off of this lesson, right, as we saw that karma, based on your previous karma, it dictates part of your life in this life.
Oh, this is a really good question. You know, so in the scriptures that the video mentioned, specifically the Bhagavad Gita, there are 5 topics of that scripture. That's Ishvara, which is the supreme. There's Jiva, which is us, the living entity soul. There's Kama, that's time. There's Karma, and there's Prakriti, which is that is the material nature. So 4 out of 5 of these topics are perfect and are not something that need to be changed or could be changed. The only one that can be changed out of the 5 are what? What do you think? And I'm put it in the, excuse my misspellings. So those are the 5. So out of all 5 of these topics, 4 of them are perfect and cannot be changed. 1 of them can be changed. What do you think can change? Very nice try. It's karma. Karma is the only thing that can be changed. Karma is the only thing. And karma is based off of your activities, right? So the activities that you do, based off of the mercy of Ishvara, could steer you in one way or another. Specifically for those who are seeking out of the material nature. If you are not, if you have desires that keep you in material nature, then you'll get it one day. But if you are seeking things that are above the material nature, your karma, your actions change based off of that desire. And then you start doing activities that will disqualify you from being bound in the material nature.
And that's a very good point, Bree, you brought it, right? So we need to understand even what is the bigger topic, why even we are talking about the karma, and Bree put those 5 topics, right? If we look into the realm of all these 5 topics, the karma even take a bigger shape than as a single unit what we are talking about, right? Now, if we think that, we see that we are in the cycle of, and the video briefly mentioned, right? We are in the cycle of life and death. Now, do we see that, is that a problem? If that's a problem, then why that is happening? What's the role karma is playing there? And what can I do to come out of it? Right? So those questions will start inquiring in the later topics. Will start inquiring. So that's the reason these are the concepts which will all come together: the consciousness, the modes, the karma. The next topic will talk about the free will and the destiny. Right? These all topics will start coming together, and we will be able to answer a lot of things, interactions, which is happening in this life, and we'll start also talking the things which we don't see but we can perceive through our experience. So you have put it very wonderfully together by bringing all those 5 topics, and the proof question gives the linkage to all those things.
Yeah, I mean, and I love questions like that, so please keep asking them, because I think once we get through a majority of the topics, a lot of them will come together. But these are questions that I think everybody should be asking in their own way, so that they can have their own realization. And so always ask questions. I did. So I'm going to go to question number 2. Unless there's anything else that anybody has that resonates with the law of karma. Very happy to add on if there is. No? All right. So question number 2. What role does our free will have in shaping our destiny? It's kind of a branch of some of the questions that were already asked, right? Does anybody have an idea of what our free will have in shaping our destiny?
You get to choose how you're going to behave.
Yep, absolutely. We do have free will. And so we have a minute amount of free will for sure, but the free will that we do have happens to determine the activities that we are participating in, right? We talked about the mind and the intelligence, and so we use free will to engage ourselves in things that could be beneficial to us. We engage ourselves in things that could be harmful to us. That's free will. So what role does it play in shaping our destiny? Or do you think it even has a role to play in shaping our destiny? Do you think that we have free will at all? These are all good questions.
Yeah, I mean, of course, we do. A free will, free agency is something that we've been given as a mode to test us and to allow us to learn and to grow and to become better. I think that in the karmic context, we're talking about your action through your free will or agency determines what sort of karma you will experience later down the road at whatever time frame that is. it's interesting. It's an interesting concept that's tied into, like Priya was talking about, many different religions. But in this context, it's certainly, the video talked about it shaping what happens in your life, this life or the next, and or beyond, like what kind of body or physical being that you come into, and what kind of things happen to you, and how athletic you are, or how, what kind of riches or resources you may have, is all shaped truly by your free will, the actions that you've taken in a previous life or in that life. So yeah, absolutely. I strongly believe in free will. You said something interesting, Brie. You said we have a minute amount of free will. What do you mean by that?
Yeah. Well, and so the amount of free will the reason why I say a minute amount of free will, right, is that we have free will to do what's within our own ability. If we had 100% free will, we would be able to do anything that we wanted at any time at any way, right? We could just will something to happen. I want to fly. I can fly. I want to grow 9 feet tall. I can grow 9 feet tall. I want to be able to disappear. I want to accumulate a bunch of money in a very small amount of time. So when we have free will, we do have free will to perform activities in which determine, where we go and what we do. But when it comes to having like complete and total free will, we don't have that power. We're just a small, minute little jiva that, desires and gets what we can based off of whatever karmic balance we have. Hello, Jason. Does that answer your question? Follow-up questions are good too.
Yeah, no, that's helpful, and it's an interesting thought to tie our abilities and our skills, talents, and like the realm of possibility to will. And I haven't thought of it that way.
Yeah, no. These are good questions, y'all. I mean, I really enjoyed that. So, does anybody have any idea about how or what role your free will has in shaping your destiny? Do you think that your free will can shape your destiny or change your destiny? Do we even know our destiny? You know? What do you think, Jason?
I think our free will can change our destiny.
Do you have any reason why you think that?
Well, like, I just think the life is like a decision tree, and at each decision, the road branches out. The way we are driving our car, we have some control over whether we go to New York or Miami. We just keep making decisions. And if we make the exits that lead us to Miami, it will.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I like that. Absolutely. What do you think, Apuv? Apuv, sorry.
Aporf.
Apuv. Yes.
I attended a talk from an astrologer through Bhakti Yoga a few weeks back. And my discussion with her before going into that talk, I was like, I think I'm in charge of my decisions, and whatever I do will shape my destiny. Her perspective, from what I understood, might be misinterpreting, but it was like your destiny is somewhat fixed, but the karma that you do can improve what is bound to happen, right? Like if maybe I was supposed to like break my leg tomorrow because of some bad action, and if I've done good actions, I might not break my leg, I might like only scratch it or like just hurt it pretty badly, things like that. But I think the overall, like the quote unquote lessons that I'm supposed to learn in life are somewhat fixed.
And so you understand your destiny as to be like lessons in your
Yeah.
life. Okay, nice.
And we
There's
will
a
make
lot of
this
lessons.
connection. Yeah, we will make this connection in the next topic, where we'll be talking more about the destiny, free will, and karma all together. And that would answer your this question in a much better way. Maybe it will give you a better perspective. What she was talking about. Like, let's say, even if you look into your karma right now, you're talking about the kind of consciousness one get, right? Um, is that something? Can I? How much power do I have to change that if I want to in this life, or not? Right. So that is something we will talk a lot in the next topic.
I think just to add to that, like another thing that I heard in the video was like your bad actions and good actions don't like your good actions don't cancel out your bad actions
Mm-hmm.
as well. And so like again, if I've done something bad, I'm bound to kind of learn or like pay that back, and then any good actions I do further would then eventually that will come back to me.
Mm-hmm. That's a good point. It did say in the video that if you do something that's a bad action, then you're going to suffer the reaction. And if you do something that is a good action, then you will enjoy the reaction. And so it's very intricate as it described in the video. And so um, what I understand is that destiny does not hamper our free will. We have a destiny, and we also have our free will. So to be successful, we have to endeavor um, in Krishna consciousness and destiny. So, for example, if you are harvesting something and you're diligently making sure that you're sowing your foods and everything like that. Um, Sometimes you get crops, sometimes you do not, right? And so and you could have tons of rain or you can have a drought. So there have been situations where you're tending to a garden. I have a garden. And so I know, sometimes you're tending to a garden and you have tons and tons of rain. And with, everything that looks favorable, you're trying so hard, right? My free will is doing these activities. I'm trying so hard. I've done everything textbook and I do not get a single crop. Whereas I could have just been like, threw the seeds in the concrete. And here, look, I have like a plethora of all these things. It's, you know, um, that's what people are going through right now. So similarly, we might fail based off of our destiny, but we do have the free will to try our best. Um, and so an example of this is if a baby monkey is holding on to their mother, and the mother jumps from branch to branch, it's up to the baby to hold on. But if the baby loses grip and slips, then that could lead to frustration, right? But it could happen. And so we try in our endeavors, in our activities, and you'll see in many, many examples where, you know, and I've said this before, even before I got into Bhakti, there are so many things that, some people do, like they're like, I've done this and I've done this and I've done this, and they're just great at everything, right? They're just amazing. And then there's one person who just desires one aspect of that person's life. So it's like, oh, I'm a mother and I'm a triathlon and I, did, climbed Everest and then I won the lottery and then I have this career and I don't. And so they have all these things that they're just on a list of things in their destiny that they've done and achieved. And then there's one person who's like, I just want to have a family, and they can't get it to save their lives, but they endeavor. And so their free will is still being utilized in that desire and those activities that they're doing. They're trying really hard, but sometimes the destiny kind of either gives you a roadblock to it or it makes it a little harder in general to achieve what you're wanting, or you won't get it at all. And so, with Bhakti, well, so before I get into bhakti, because of that, it leads to frustration, it leads to anger, it leads to confusion and bewilderment. A lot of people, you see it all around, so many people, and try so hard sometimes, and they're just like, why me? Like, why? And it's because the action that they're performing right now, or what they're doing, there's some attachment. They want some result to the action that they're doing, and if they don't get it, then it causes them to become really bewildered and sad. So what they were mentioning in the video was Akarma, which is to doing it for Krishna consciousness, meaning that you do not receive a reaction for it, or either good or bad, you don't receive it at all. And so by doing something like that, then you don't receive any of the results at all. There are no frustrations. And then I think there's more to it as well, but that's most of what gets rid of the frustration of sometimes the destiny blocks that we are experiencing in this life. Did you have anything additional, Deepak, that you wanted to add on to that, or?
No,
That was
we can
beautiful.
yeah,
That was
yeah,
very beautiful.
we can talk. Actually, this is a wonderful topic, and we can talk a lot more in the next session when we'll be talking more about this. Uh, we can just, I'm just putting the next question. I'm looking at the time. Is the law of karma applicable to animals? Why not?
Why not?
I had never thought about this until this video myself, but I think the answer is no, because the question of free will.
Mm-hmm. What does anybody else think? I agree.
I don't think they have the higher level of logic and reasoning, right? And we've talked about that in previous sessions.
Mm-hmm.
And, clearly, like, the system is designed that they must, do things that we don't have to in order to survive. It's survival. So, yeah, no, I believe so.
Absolutely. Well, I agree. I don't believe that animals are applicable to the law of karma. But the video did mention something that was really interesting to me, because one of the results of karma determines the body that you receive upon leaving the one that you're presently in. And so here's a follow-up question. If you are acting in the propensity of mating, eating, sleeping, and defending like a cat or a dog, then, and you're acting that way, then do you believe that karma will bring you to that platform?
Sorry, could you rephrase your question?
Yeah. So if you're in a present body, the activities that you're doing are all revolving around the four animalistic propensities of eating, mating, sleeping, and defending. When you leave the body, do you believe that you could potentially receive a body of an animal to do those things?
I think so.
You do? Anybody else? Have you ever thought of that before?
I've said I'd wish to come back as a bird, or and one that's not hunted. And that's what I've said that before. People have their sort of like their spirit animal that they connect with somehow. And so I've said that. I don't know that I really want that, right? I like to be able to think and to challenge thought and to challenge my mind. But
Does that,
yeah, I
would
don't know.
would that mean that you're ultimately in your final state of self-realization? I mean, I think if I follow the video, you are stuck in that place. And stuck, I don't want to use the word stuck with a negative connotation, but
Yeah.
does that mean that you're ultimately, is that your final state of self-realization?
It's a good question. It's a really good question. I don't think so. I don't think so. Because the Shastras say that we're constantly, what's the word? Well, we're constantly migrating from body to body. And so, you know, the spirit animal, I've come to believe, probably because I've had some impression of some type of life that I've had, you know. Um, But, you know, it's so bhakti is very interesting because when we all say that we are constitutionally the same, in the first lesson we had, we were saying a tree, an animal, a plant, a human being, a beast, all these things that are living entities, we are constitutionally the same. The only difference that we have are the bodies that we're in. And because of the bodies that we're in, we have certain facilities that allow us to come to conclusions, desire things for ourselves, perform activities that could, you know, determine where we are, and also, but ultimately, self-realization. So those that are in an animal body, I don't necessarily believe are stuck in that. I believe that that's something from what I've heard, like if you desire to eat so much meat, then you might be put in a body of a lion. You get the facilities to do that. Um, but, you know, there are so many things that constitute mercy that, you know, it's always a chance for you to go back into another body that allows you to try again. And even in our practice of bhakti, we look at all living entities with compassion. And so I see potentially that there's somebody in a body that might not have used their free will so well. And then that we give them things like prasad, or we sing our little Harinam mantras to them for compassion. Um, but nonetheless, the bodies that they're in does not um, give any karmic that doesn't give karmic reactions. It doesn't accumulate or deplete anything in your karmic bank account. Because of exactly what you all said, there's no free will in there that allows them to desire certain things and act upon those things. They're just acting on nature, prakriti.
I do think, though,
Mhm.
that there may be potential for spirits to inhabit all types of bodies. And the reason I think that is because of a couple of things. There's this sort of mental tradition that if loggers out in the woods see a crow, they say that that's an old logger, coming back to the job site to sort of check in. And many people have this sort of tie, especially in the U.S. to when they see an eagle, they tend to think of someone that they, has passed on, or it somehow, really speaks to them. And I've had an experience where I was out in the middle of the woods in this meadow, and my dad had passed away, and it hadn't been that long, and I was alone just with my dog, and he was off running doing his thing, and I was doing my thing. And this butterfly came and landed in the palm of my hand. And this butterfly just hung out with me. And to me, that was my dad sending me a message. He was speaking to me. Um, my mom saw orbs, light orbs in the sky, and so I think that spirits can absolutely sort of short-term inhabit lots of different forms,
I
as
agree.
it were.
100% agree. 100%. And I know that I don't want to go so far into it because I know I will, so I won't. But I definitely what you're saying. There's a lot of truth to that. We're all in temporary bodies right now. These bodies that we're in right now are temporary in nature. We might have a different timeline than a butterfly. We might have a different timeline than a bird. but we're all in temporary bodies and we all migrate to different bodies when this body is finished. So
amazing discussion. I'm just putting a last question here, Bree.
yes. So how can we perform actions in our day-to-day life such that we don't suffer any reactions? I want to hear all of your perception, understandings first, and then I can give you all my take on this. Who wants to go first? How do you think that what can you do to perform in your day-to-day that will give you something that won't cause you to suffer any reactions?
Well, the video was clear about doing your chanting. That's one solid way.
It's a good one. Anybody else have any ideas?
I don't know if this is right or not, but devoting your actions to the Lord.
That's a good one. There's no right or wrong, y'all. Don't worry. This is all discussion. And so, what about you, Dhruv? Oh, or Priya, did you want to go?
I think they talked about two separate things, right? The spiritual act and the human act, and the spiritual act of devotion. So whatever the acts of devotion are. And then, of course, the human acts of be a good person. So I think those are two different sides, right? Or at least that's the way I understood it.
That's really good. Really good. How about you, Jason or Dhruv? Do you have any ideas?
I would say like practice makes perfect in this as well. Like just trying over and over again to be non-reactive, we become better at being non-reactive.
It's a good point. A lot of control in your mind.
Yeah, I think doing or serving God and in whichever way is like performing is something allows us to not suffer any like bad reactions. Just
I like
focus on service to God.
Service. It was a really good word that I heard. How about you, Deepak? Did you have anything?
Means I'm just see, even though these things are not covered in the video, but I can see that from the answers that a lot of you already have some ideas, right? For example, we will be discussing a lot in the future topic, which is the nishkam. There's a new term, like it's called nishkam karma, right? So basically the action which we are doing, how we can do it in such a way that there is no reaction. So there's a technical term which called nishkam. So we will be talking, and Bhagavad Gita talks quite a bit about that, how to do our day-to-day activities, right? The activities what we are doing during our work, the result of the work, how we can dovetail everything in a way so that it doesn't generate any reaction. And that's the art. It says the art of work, right? So that's where I leave it right now.
Yeah. So not looking at this in any type of sectarian or dogmatic way at all, right? You guys are already doing stuff right now in the present that allow you to continue creating practices or practicing things that will lead you to not making any reactions. And this is how I say this, right? Our actions, as the video has said, are what causes us to receive either good or bad karma. So what are we doing right now, right? we are in a class for self-discovery. A class of self-discovery where you learn about practices in which you can further understand yourself, create better practices that will be used in a day-to-day that don't really cause you too much change at this point, at least, so that you can understand that maybe my actions are determining, something in the future. Is karma in itself. What kind of karma do you think it is? Your inclination to knowing about yourself.
Positive.
Mhm. Self-realization is the gift of this human body, right? Self-realization and the actions that you do in order to gain self-realization will cause you not to, or will cause you to or not to perform things that will cause good or bad karma. So you're already doing it. You have some inclination to understanding spirituality. You have some inclination about understanding yourself. And because of that, if that inclination stays and you practice just a little bit, then you will be on the path of performing things that will cause you not to receive good or bad karma. But if you do end up doing things that will cause you to receive karma, then on the spiritual sense, especially understanding, good causes good, all this, you will be on the path of at least good karma. What's the loss, right? What do you think? Does it sound too easy to be true?
Well, it sounds very black and white, but of course it's way beyond that. Right? It's way beyond what we have time to actually dig into. That's why this is a lifelong journey.
Yes.
I thought you had a very nice explanation, Bree.
Thank you. All right. Well, that was my conclusion. These classes are always really nice. And so I appreciate your time and allowing me to speak.
Yes, wonderful discussion. Wonderful discussion. Thank you everyone for joining. And Jason, I know that um, you, you 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 joined a little late, but you did join, so thank you very much.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, just watch the recording. I'll send the recording. You can watch the initial phase, the initial video and everything. And because the next topic is going to build on this, which is the
I think
free.
I watched I was gonna say, because I knew I was gonna be late, I think I watched the right video last night. I went to the Krishna.org website and found the video. So I think I did see it.
Okay, okay. Wonderful. If you have watched the video, then that's awesome. The next topic will be on the karma, the intersection of karma, free will, and destiny. Because as sometimes we hear, if as Apur was telling, right, that if we already have the destiny predestined, then what is the role of the free will? And if I have a free will, then how does the destiny go with that, right? And then what role does the karma play there? So this intersection is something we'll be discussing, right? So we'll be getting in the more practical. You can say this is the extension of today's topic, going into a little bit more detail. Okay, so that is for next week. This week we are organizing, we are volunteering for a large event. It's called Anand Mela. It's happening in Redmond City Hall. You can look up online. It's 2 days. It's a 2-day event, Saturday and Sunday. We will be having a Bhakti studio booth there also. So this is like a complete cultural extravaganza, if you can say. Lots of performance. There are bands which are coming from the different places who will be performing. So please do come if you have time. It's in Redmond. And I'll type the name Anand Mela. So Anand Mela. Okay, so you can just look it up. And if you come, please do come to the Bhakti Studio booth and meet us. Bree will be there, I hope. Yes.
Yeah, I'll be there. 3 to 6 both days.
And the event is from like that is full day, like start from 12 p.m. and goes until 9 p.m. or 8 p.m., 12 to 8 p.m. Both Saturday and Sunday. And there were a lot of food, a lot of vendors, like 90 vendors. So it's a pretty big, large festival. Pretty large festival. There will be a lot of artifacts created, showing depicting the different stories, culture. There will be um, multiple stages. So all those things. All right, folks. Thank you very much. Priya, you are typing something. Have to add anything? Nice seeing everyone. Yes, absolutely. Cool. I'll stop the recording.